There is a moment, a single profound moment, when everything you thought you knew about existence shifts forever. It lasts exactly 60 seconds. In this minute, these precious, eternal 60 seconds, your soul awakens to a reality so vast, so beautiful, that every earthly concern dissolves like morning mist. But here's what most people don't understand. This moment isn't random. It isn't predetermined by some distant cosmic force making arbitrary decisions about your fate. No. This first minute after death is shaped entirely by choices you're making right now, in this very breath, in this very heartbeat. The great mystic Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, spent decades in trance states, following souls through their actual transition from physical life to whatever lies beyond. Through 14,000 psychic readings, he mapped the terrain of death with the precision of a spiritual cartographer, and what he discovered will change everything you thought you knew about dying, and more importantly, about living. Because according to Cayce's profound visions, your soul's journey doesn't begin when your heart stops beating. It begins right now, in this moment, as you make choices between love and fear, service and selfishness, truth and deception. Every act of kindness you perform today, every moment of forgiveness you offer, every time you choose to see the divine spark in another human being, you're not just living a good life, you're preparing for the most important 60 seconds in your soul's eternal journey. Picture this. The silver cord that connects your consciousness to your physical body finally releases. The weight of flesh and bone falls away like discarded clothing. And in that first minute, that sacred transformative minute, your soul experiences something that will echo through all eternity. But what exactly happens in those 60 seconds? How does consciousness navigate this ultimate transition? And most importantly, how can understanding this profound process transform not just how you approach death, but how you embrace every remaining day of life? Edgar Cayce possessed a gift unlike any other documented in human history. When he entered his trance state, his consciousness could follow souls through their actual journey from physical death into the realms beyond. This wasn't speculation. This wasn't religious doctrine or philosophical theory. This was direct observation of the soul's transition process, described with clinical precision by someone who could witness what no living person should be able to see. For over 4 decades, Cayce conducted readings that took him beyond the veil of death itself. He could connect with souls who had recently crossed over, their memories of transition still fresh, still vivid with the wonder and recognition of their new reality. Unlike near-death experiences, which offer glimpses from the threshold, Cayce's readings came from souls who had completed the journey. They could describe not just the tunnel of light or the life review, but the intricate mechanics of how consciousness itself shifts from one dimension to another. He saw death not as an ending, but as a graduation ceremony, a carefully orchestrated shift in awareness from the dense vibration of physical matter to the luminous frequencies of pure spirit. In reading after reading, a consistent pattern emerged. The transition wasn't chaotic or frightening for souls who had prepared through love and service. Instead, it unfolded with the precision of a sacred ritual, each phase building naturally upon the last. But here's what makes Cayce's insight so extraordinary. He discovered that the first 60 seconds after the soul separates from the body contain the entire blueprint for what follows. Everything that happens in the afterlife, every choice, every destination, every reunion, begins in that crucial first minute. The souls who spoke through Cayce's readings described these moments with profound gratitude. They had found something they hadn't even realized they were seeking: their true home. Death, according to Cayce's revelations, is not a single moment, but a sacred process that begins long before the heart takes its final beat. Imagine your soul as a traveler who has been wearing a heavy coat during a long winter journey. Physical death is the moment when you finally reach your destination and can remove that coat, feeling the lightness and freedom you had forgotten was possible. Cayce described what he called the silver cord, an ethereal connection between your eternal soul and your temporary physical body. This cord, invisible to earthly eyes but blazing with spiritual light, is what keeps your consciousness anchored in flesh during your earthly sojourn. The dissolution of this cord doesn't happen instantly. Like a flower blooming in slow motion, it unfolds in precise, sacred stages. First comes the preparation phase. In the final moments before transition, your soul begins to withdraw its deepest essence from the physical form. This isn't traumatic, it's gentle, like slowly surfacing from deep, peaceful sleep. Then comes the separation itself. The silver cord releases, and for the first time in decades, your consciousness is completely free from the limitations of matter. No more pain, no more fatigue, no more feeling trapped in a body that can't keep up with the vastness of your spirit. But it's the third phase, the awakening, that changes everything. In that first minute after separation, your soul experiences what can only be described as the great remembering. Like someone emerging from amnesia, you suddenly recall who you really are, why you came to Earth, and where you truly belong. This isn't frightening. It's the most natural thing in the universe, and it's followed immediately by the fourth phase, orientation. Your soul recognizes its new environment and begins to understand the magnificent possibilities that now stretch before it. But none of this happens by chance. Every moment of your earthly life has been preparing your consciousness for this sacred transition. In that first precious moment, after the silver cord releases, something extraordinary happens to your awareness. You realize you're free, not just free from pain or illness or the weight of physical concerns, but free in a way that transcends every limitation you've ever known. Cayce described this moment as the soul's profound recognition of its true nature. Like a bird that has lived its entire life in a cage, suddenly discovering that the door was never locked. You experience an expansion of consciousness so complete that every earthly worry seems like a half-remembered dream. There's no struggle in this moment, no desperate clinging to the body you're leaving behind. Instead, there's a sense of profound rightness, as if you're finally doing what you came here to do. Many souls, according to Cayce's readings, look back at their physical body with a mixture of gratitude and gentle amazement. Gratitude for the vessel that carried them through their earthly lessons, and amazement at how they ever believed that small, dense form contained the vastness of who they really are. It's like waking up from a dream where you believed you were a character in a play, only to remember that you're actually the author of the entire script. You might recognize this feeling. Have you ever been dreaming and suddenly realized you were dreaming? That shift from believing the dream was reality to understanding your true position as the dreamer, that's exactly what happens to your soul in those first seconds after death. But there's something even more beautiful occurring in this threshold moment. As your consciousness expands beyond physical boundaries, you begin to sense a presence, or rather, multiple presences, gathering around you. You're not alone. You never were. And you're about to discover just how lovingly your transition has been prepared. Suddenly, like dawn breaking after the longest night, the memories come flooding back. Not just memories from this lifetime, though those are there, crystal clear and perfectly preserved, but memories from all your lifetimes, stretching back through centuries of soul growth and learning. This isn't overwhelming. Cayce consistently emphasized this point in his readings. The return of complete soul memory isn't a chaotic flood that drowns consciousness in information. Instead, it's like watching a beautiful tapestry unfold, each thread of experience weaving together to create a masterpiece of meaning. You remember why you chose this particular lifetime, why you were drawn to specific relationships, certain challenges, particular gifts to develop and share. The temporary amnesia that allowed you to experience physical life fully dissolves, and suddenly every piece of the cosmic puzzle falls into perfect place. That relationship that felt so significant from the moment you met? You remember now, you've shared many lifetimes together, sometimes as lovers, sometimes as friends, sometimes as teacher and student, always as fellow travelers supporting each other's growth. That challenge that seemed so unfair, so difficult to understand. You remember now you chose it yourself, recognizing it as exactly what your soul needed to develop compassion, strength, or wisdom you couldn't acquire any other way. That deep yearning you always felt for something beyond material success. You remember now. It was your eternal nature calling to you, reminding you that you are so much more than flesh and bone and earthly achievement. In these moments of great remembering, Cayce describes souls experiencing profound gratitude for the gift of human life. Even the difficulties, even the pain, revealed themselves as perfectly crafted opportunities for soul advancement. You begin to understand that Earth isn't a punishment or a random assignment. It's a school, and you enrolled willingly, eager to learn lessons that can only be mastered in physical form. But as beautiful as this remembering is, you're about to experience something even more wonderful. They're waiting for you. In that first minute after transition, as your consciousness adjusts to its newfound freedom, familiar presences begin to materialize around you. These aren't strangers assigned to process new arrivals in some cosmic bureaucracy. These are the souls who love you most. Your grandmother appears first, radiant with health and joy, looking exactly as she did in her prime, but somehow more herself than she ever was on Earth. Her eyes sparkle with the secret knowledge she's been keeping, that death is nothing to fear, that life continues in ways more beautiful than any earthly mind can imagine. Your childhood friend, who passed too young, materializes beside her, grinning with the same mischievous joy that made you laugh together decades ago. But there's a wisdom in his expression now, a deep peace that speaks of growth and understanding achieved in the realms beyond physical existence. Even your beloved dog, the one whose loss broke your heart years ago, bounds toward you with the same unconditional love, the same pure joy that made every homecoming feel like a celebration. Animals, Cayce revealed, are often our most enthusiastic greeters in those first moments after death. This welcoming committee isn't coincidental. According to the readings, these meetings are carefully orchestrated by what Cayce called the Council of Guides, highly evolved souls who oversee the transition process for every consciousness crossing from physical to spiritual existence. Your greeters have been preparing for this moment. They've been watching your earthly journey, celebrating your victories, offering invisible support during your struggles. They understand exactly what kind of orientation you'll need to adjust to your new reality. But there's something even more profound happening in this divine reunion. As you embrace these beloved souls, you're not just being welcomed home. You're being reminded of your true identity as an eternal being of light, temporarily housed in flesh but never limited by it. The love you're experiencing in this moment isn't just personal affection. It's recognition, soul recognizing soul, light acknowledging light, eternal beings celebrating the successful completion of another earthly mission. And then, with infinite gentleness, the review begins. This isn't judgment. This isn't a cosmic court where your worthiness is being evaluated by some external authority. According to Cayce's profound insights, the life review is education, a sacred viewing of your earthly journey from the perspective of absolute love and understanding. Imagine stepping into a hall of mirrors. But these mirrors reflect not just your appearance, but the truth of every interaction, every choice, every moment of your human experience. You see yourself as you really were, not as you feared others perceived you, but as the eternal soul learning and growing through the adventure of physical existence. Every act of kindness you performed, no matter how small, blazes with light in this review. That time you helped a stranger with their groceries, you see now how that simple gesture shifted their entire day, preventing an argument with their spouse, creating a ripple of peace that touched dozens of lives. Every harsh word you spoke, every moment of selfishness, every missed opportunity for love, these appear too, but not as evidence of your unworthiness. Instead, you understand them as learning experiences, as moments when fear temporarily obscured your true nature. The most extraordinary aspect of this review, according to Cayce's readings, is how you experience every interaction from all perspectives involved. When you see the time you lost patience with your child, You feel not only your own frustration, but your child's confusion and hurt. And miraculously, you also experience the love that was always present beneath both emotions. This perspective doesn't create shame or regret. Instead, it generates profound compassion for others, and most importantly, for yourself. You begin to understand that every soul on earth is doing the best they can with their current level of awareness. But here's the most beautiful revelation of all. The review shows you that love was always the answer. In every situation where you chose love over fear, service over selfishness, forgiveness over resentment, you aligned with your true nature and helped heal not just yourself, but the entire world. As the life review deepens, something remarkable happens to your perception. You begin to understand, not intellectually, but with complete soul knowing, exactly where you stand in your eternal journey of spiritual development. It's as if you've been climbing a magnificent mountain your entire earthly life, focusing so intently on each step that you couldn't see the broader landscape. Now suddenly, you can perceive not only how far you've climbed, but also the vast, beautiful territory that stretches both behind and ahead of you. Cayce described this as the soul's recognition of its own frequency or vibration. Every choice you made during physical life either raised or lowered this spiritual frequency. Acts of love, service, and truth-seeking created higher vibrations. Fear, hatred, and deception created lower ones. This isn't about moral judgment, it's about spiritual physics. Like tuning forks that resonate with matching frequencies, souls naturally gravitate toward the dimension that matches their consciousness level. Those who spent their earthly lives cultivating love, practicing forgiveness, and seeking to understand their connection to the divine find themselves drawn toward realms of indescribable beauty and infinite learning opportunities. These aren't rewards for good behavior, they're natural attractions between similar vibrations. Souls still heavily focused on material attachments, unhealed resentments, or unresolved earthly concerns experience a different kind of orientation. They're not punished or condemned, but they require more time and assistance to adjust to spiritual reality. Think of it like music. A soul that has spent earthly life learning to harmonize naturally resonates with the cosmic symphony. A soul still learning to carry a tune needs more practice before joining the celestial choir. But here's the profound hope in Cayce's revelation. No soul is ever abandoned or written off. The same infinite love that created you continues to support your growth throughout eternity. Every dimension of the afterlife offers opportunities for continued development, continued healing, continued expansion toward your highest potential. In those first 60 seconds, you don't just understand where you are, you also sense the magnificent possibilities stretching before you. Now comes the moment that will shape the next phase of your eternal journey. As your consciousness fully adjusts to its expanded state, you become aware of pathways opening before you, each one leading to different opportunities for continued growth and service. This isn't like standing at a crossroads on Earth, where limited information forces you to guess which direction might be best. In your expanded spiritual awareness, you can perceive the full significance and potential outcome of each choice available to you. Some souls, according to Cayce's readings, feel immediately drawn toward higher dimensions of learning and service. These are often souls who spent their earthly lives in dedicated spiritual practice, who consistently chose love over fear and service over selfishness. They're ready to take on greater cosmic responsibilities, perhaps serving as guides for other souls, making the transition from physical existence. Others feel called to remain closer to the earth plane, serving as guardian angels or spirit guides for loved ones still navigating physical life. These souls have developed such deep compassion during their earthly journey that they voluntarily postpone their own advancement to help others. Still others recognize that they need additional healing or learning before moving forward. They're drawn toward what Cayce called rehabilitation centers, spiritual environments designed to help souls release earthly attachments and develop greater understanding of their divine nature. And some souls, those who feel their earthly mission remains incomplete, choose to begin preparing for another incarnation, another opportunity to learn and serve in physical form. Here's the beautiful truth that emerges from Cayce's insights. None of these choices are forced upon you. Your earthly experiences have been preparing you to make decisions in alignment with your highest good and greatest growth potential. The consciousness you've developed through lifetime after lifetime of experience becomes your compass in this moment of cosmic choice. But whatever path calls to you, you now understand something that changes everything. You are not alone, and you never will be. So what does this profound understanding mean for you right now, in this moment, breathing in this physical body? If Edgar Cayce's revelations are accurate, and thousands of consistent readings suggest they are, then every choice you make today is preparation for that sacred first minute after death. The consciousness you'll possess in that moment of transition is the same consciousness you're developing right now through your daily thoughts, words, and actions. This transforms everything. That moment when you feel irritated with a slow cashier, you can choose patience instead, knowing you're literally training your soul for a smoother afterlife transition. That opportunity to forgive someone who hurt you deeply, you can embrace it as spiritual development that will serve you not just in this life, but throughout eternity. That impulse to perform a random act of kindness for a stranger, you can follow it with understanding that you're weaving threads of light into the tapestry of your eternal journey. Meditation isn't just a stress reduction technique, it's practice. For the expanded awareness you'll need to navigate spiritual dimensions. Prayer isn't just asking for earthly help, it's establishing the connection to divine guidance that will orient you in those crucial first 60 seconds after death. Acts of service aren't just nice gestures. They're training for the cosmic service, opportunities that await advanced souls in higher dimensions. This doesn't mean you should live in constant contemplation of death. Rather, understanding your eternal nature allows you to engage with life more fully, knowing that every experience, joyful or challenging, is contributing to your soul's magnificent development. You're not just living a human life. You're attending the most advanced spiritual university in the universe, and graduation day, whenever it comes, will be a celebration of everything you've learned and become. If you're watching this because someone you love has recently passed, please know this: they are okay, more than okay. According to Cayce's profound insights, if your loved one lived with basic goodness and love, if they tried to treat others with kindness, if they sought truth and beauty in their own imperfect way, their first 60 seconds after death were filled with wonder, recognition, and homecoming joy. That worry keeping you awake at night, wondering if they're lost or confused or suffering, you can release it now. The same love that connects your hearts transcends physical death. They know you're thinking of them. They feel your prayers. They understand your grief as the natural response of love temporarily separated from its object. Your grandmother who passed peacefully in her sleep, she experienced those first 60 seconds as the most natural awakening imaginable, surrounded by loved ones who preceded her and guides who helped her adjust to her expanded awareness. Your friend who died suddenly in an accident, despite the shock of unexpected transition, her soul was immediately embraced by the divine love that has been orchestrating her entire eternal journey. The confusion lasted only moments before recognition and joy took its place. Even your loved one who struggled with addiction or depression or made choices you couldn't understand, their essential goodness, the divine spark that you always saw beneath their struggles, is what determined their transition experience. Souls are judged only by love, and love sees past every earthly limitation to the eternal being beneath. Your grief is natural and necessary. It honors the depth of your connection, but it doesn't need to include worry about their well-being. They are being cared for by the same infinite love that brought them into your life in the first place. And here's something beautiful to hold in your heart. The love you shared with them hasn't ended. It simply shifted form, like water becoming steam, changed but never lost. Now gently, let's explore what this means for your own inevitable transition. Take a deep breath and imagine yourself in that sacred first minute after your earthly journey is complete. If you've lived with love, imperfectly as all humans do, but genuinely, your experience will be one of profound homecoming. The fears that sometimes wake you at 3 a.m. wondering what comes after death. They dissolve like mist in sunlight when your soul remembers its eternal nature. The regrets you carry about mistakes you've made, opportunities you've missed, words you wish you could take back. They transform into wisdom and compassion when viewed from the perspective of infinite love. The sense of incompleteness you sometimes feel, as if you're missing some essential piece of yourself, it disappears completely when you reconnect with the magnificent wholeness of your true identity. If you've tried to live with kindness, if you've sought truth even when it was uncomfortable, if you've chosen love over fear more often than not, your first 60 seconds after death will feel like the most natural thing in the universe. You'll look back at your physical body with gratitude for the journey it enabled you to take, but without attachment to the limitations it represented. You'll remember who you really are, an eternal being of light who chose to experience human life as part of a magnificent cosmic adventure in consciousness development. You'll be greeted by souls who love you unconditionally, who've been cheering you on through every earthly challenge and celebration. Most importantly, you'll understand that death isn't an ending but a commencement ceremony, marking your graduation from Earth School and your readiness for the next phase of eternal learning and service. Fear has no place in this transition when you understand its true nature. Everything we've explored leads to this one profound truth from Edgar Cayce's deepest spiritual insights. Love is the eternal compass that guides every soul through the transition from physical life to whatever lies beyond. Not religious love bound by doctrine or dogma, not romantic love limited to specific relationships, not even familial love restricted to blood connections. The love that guides your first 60 seconds after death is the universal love that recognizes every soul as part of the same cosmic family. The love that sees divine light in every being. The love that chooses service over selfishness, forgiveness over resentment, understanding over judgment. This is the love you're cultivating every time you choose patience over irritation, every time you offer help without expectation of return, every time you see past someone's difficult behavior to the wounded soul beneath. When you practice this love during physical life, you're literally programming your soul's navigation system for the afterlife. Love becomes your welcoming committee, determining who greets you in those first moments. Love shapes your destination, drawing you toward dimensions that match your heart's development. Love colors your entire experience of remembering, helping you see every earthly challenge as a perfect opportunity for spiritual growth. The souls who experience the most beautiful, peaceful transitions, according to thousands of Cayce's readings, aren't necessarily those who followed specific religious practices or achieved conventional success. They're the ones who made love their priority, who treated service as sacred, who saw every interaction as an opportunity to express their highest nature. This love doesn't require perfection. It only requires genuine intention to grow, to heal, to become more than fear would have you believe possible. Every moment of authentic love you share creates ripples that extend far beyond this lifetime. Your kindness to a stranger today might still be reverberating through dimensions of existence you can't even imagine. Your soul knows this. Your heart recognizes this truth. Your deepest wisdom understands that love isn't just the point of human life, it's the bridge to everything that comes after. You are eternal, not just in some vague, philosophical sense, but in the most practical, immediate reality imaginable. The consciousness reading these words, the awareness behind your eyes, the spark of recognition that responds to truth, this is your eternal self, temporarily housed in flesh but never limited by it. Every day you wake up in this physical body is another opportunity to prepare for the most important 60 seconds in your soul's journey. Not because you should live in fear of death, but because understanding your eternal nature allows you to live with unprecedented freedom and purpose. When you truly grasp that your essence is immortal, that every act of love strengthens your spiritual GPS system, that every choice toward light makes your eventual transition smoother and more beautiful, how can you not approach each day as sacred? You are not just surviving until death comes. You are actively creating the consciousness that will navigate dimensions beyond physical imagination. You are the traveler. You are the journey. You are the destination, and your soul's greatest adventure, the one that begins 60 seconds after your heart takes its final beat, is already being shaped by the love you choose to embody right now. Edgar Cayce's profound gift to humanity wasn't just mapping the afterlife. It was revealing that heaven isn't a distant destination you might earn someday. It's a state of consciousness you can develop today, in this moment, through every choice to see divinity in yourself and others. Your first 60 seconds after death will be exactly as beautiful as the love you've cultivated during life. So make them magnificent. Your eternal journey begins now.